In this video, we will walk through the steps of how to access the admin user that was created in the first video. Now, when the user is created, that person will receive an email that says, "Welcome to Sage Intacct." It'll come from noreply@intacct.com. Sometimes you may have to check your spam filter because it gets pushed there at times. You'll have your user's name, a little intro sentence. You'll have your temporary password, your company ID, and your user ID. The temporary password is not your permanent password. You will use this to sign into their password server and change it. Speaking of which, you will come to this sign in link. Use this link to get into their server. You try to get in another way, it's not going to work. So click the sign in link. Your Intacct sign-in will pop up. This is going to be for the password server. You already have your company ID and your user ID. Now, for most people, they are not going to want to hand type this. So you can, thankfully, copy and paste. Copy. Let me move this out of the way. Paste. Sign in. Don't save it because you're not going to keep it. Now, your current password is that temporary password that you use to sign in with. So copy and paste again, then create your new password. It needs to be at least 8 characters long, 1 letter, 1 lowercase, 1 uppercase, 1 number, and a special character. It's pretty standard. You have a security question that they use to help you reset. You can do what's your pet's name, mother's maiden name, favorite color, whatever. Oh, let's go with favorite color. My favorite color is blue. Click update. And we don't need to worry about that because this is a new one. Now, Intacct by default uses 2-factor authentication. That means you will need to get a 2-factor authentication based on either an authenticator app, text message, or phone. Those are the only 3 current methods of authorization. Now, authorization works like this. If the first time you log in to your user on a computer, on a browser, you will have to authenticate. If you log in on the same computer to another browser, you will have to authenticate. If you log in on another computer into the same browser, you will have to authenticate. See where I'm going with this? Now, based on company policy of how they had the Intacct instance set up, you may have to do that every time. But normally what happens is once you log in on one device in one particular browser, you don't have to authenticate a second time. Except if you clear your cookies, you will have to authenticate again. Clear as mud? I hope so. For me, I almost always use an authenticator app. Why? Because 1, I don't want to get a phone call. It's interrupting me. 2, text messages, they have improved now, but sometimes some networks, the first time you try to use it for this authentication, does not always work, and you may not get the text for a bit. So I use an authenticator app. You can either use Google, Microsoft, or anybody else for that matter. You'll click the via app, bring up your app on your phone, take a picture of it, come over here to the code, put in the code 155, verify before it resets, click next. Now, this is to set up a backup. You do not have to do that at this time. You don't have to do it at all. But you could if you wanted to. I normally set up later. You want to say, trust this device. If you have that option available and you set, yes, trust this device, that means next time you log in to Intacct from this device and this browser, you won't have to authenticate again. So let's trust this device. You can see it's working. I'm not just being quiet. This introduction to Intacct Collaborate. This is Intacct's internal messaging system, which is super useful. for keeping track of information that you have on particular transactions or objects. We will cover this in a later video. For now, I want to continue to Intacct. You can close that out. Now you have access to Intacct. You can come here and you can see that you have everything as the admin, the access that you were given. Okay? So that is how you get access.